Hey, what's going on, guys? Dylan here from Goldberg Strength. Got another good word for you as we start off episode 2 of Wisdom Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about the fruits of the Spirit. This is a topic I'm really excited to talk about. It came to me over the past week, and this is something that I struggled with a lot on my journey, along with my relationship with God and just developing into the Christian man that I'm becoming, and understanding truly what fruit is. Because for a while, I always thought that it was like literal fruit, right, and not metaphorical. Today, finally have acquired a lot of wisdom on that, and I am more than happy to share that with everyone today. And today's going to be a little special. So last time I had my computer to organize my thoughts and everything. Today I'm going to just read a few little notes I have that I prepared, and I'm actually going to be reading out of my family heirloom Bible that was passed down from my grandfather to me. This is honestly my prized possession. Love this. This thing is almost 70 years old now. Incredible. And man, my kids might be lucky to inherit it, but I'm probably going to get buried with it. But anyways, let's get right into it. So what is fruit, right? One of my mentors, Aaron, if you guys know him, Convicted King, he talked to me a lot about this as I really started to begin to learn about fruit. And what is fruit? Fruit is something that we bear, right? And when you think about fruit, it's not necessarily food. Think about fruit in the sense of reaping and sowing and what you're growing, right? Who you're becoming and who you are. Because who you are might not necessarily be who you're going to be, but it does play a role in that stepping stone of who you're going to be. So in short, fruit is character, right? And I can summarize this by giving you guys a quick example. It's not about the person who wears the cross or goes to church every Sunday. It's about the person that's feeding the poor, the homeless. It's about the person that is treating people with kindness and compassion, even though there might be people that do not deserve that in any way, shape, or form. That is truly what carrying the fruit of the Spirit means. And to get right into it, one of the verses I wrote down, and I did a little bit of some shorter ones in my notes, and I have a longer one I'm going to read out of this Bible, right? But we'll get right into it. John 15:1 says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener, right? So think about that. Jesus is the vine, God is the gardener, right? What grows if he's the vine? The vine's going to grow. Do you see? And the vine extends into us. So we can either present, right, good character traits or bad character traits. Those good character traits that represent life, love, kindness, compassion. Those are all things that are going to represent God. When you talk about negativity, hate, right? Even doubt, self-doubt, fear, all of those negative emotions that hold us down, even shame, guilt, just to name a couple more, those are all from the enemy because those bear no fruit or fruit that's bad, right? Because you can think about it. We have strawberries, blueberries, all that good stuff. But you might go out in the woods, you're camping, you see a berry tree and you eat it, and now you're sick because it's poisonous. Think about that, right? And I'm going to continue and go off for another verse, right? John 3:30 says, he must increase, but I must decrease. That is the only way that you can be filled with the vine. That is the only way that you can be filled with the fruit of the Spirit. We have to basically decrease our ego, that voice in our head that's I am this, I am that, all of that, right? And humble ourselves. Allow ourselves to feel humility, right? Put the pride aside, put the ego in a box, because that's not going to bear good fruit because we're only operating out of a self-serving place. But what does really fruit represent if you're going beyond character? So what does it truly represent? It represents Christ. And what does Christ represent? Sacrifice. Because if you think about it, he sacrificed himself for us so we can bear fruit and even be in contact with the Spirit, be in contact with our Father, and be able to make those mistakes and still be able to come back. That's where that forgiveness comes from, right? But if he's willing to do that for us, we have to be willing to do that for our neighbors, our brothers, our sisters, even when people do us wrong, even when they don't deserve forgiveness, even when those horrible things happen and you don't get an apology, right? But that doesn't necessarily equal tolerance, and we'll get into that a little bit later with the fruit. Now, going on humility, while we're on this subject, I do want to bring up an excellent quote. This is a person who I think was alive back in like the 1200s, but his name was Saint Moses the Ethiopian. And I love this quote. I live by this quote. It's really impacted me since I've read this. And again, this is why I have it as a note. And this was before I even came up with this. So he said, "You fast, but Satan does not eat. You labor, but Satan never sleeps. The only dimension which you can outperform Satan in is by acquiring humility. For Satan has no humility." So think about that. The next time you're acting out of pride, the next time you're acting egotistical, maybe self-absorbed, it's one thing to be confident in yourself, but it's another thing to be living out of your ego or in excess, right? So again, humility, fruit, love, fruit, kindness, fruit, compassion, fruit. That's good fruit. You can still have bad fruit, right? I mean, even no fruit. For example, and I'm not going to read this entire thing, I'm just going to summarize it. But Mark 11:12-25 states, basically, Jesus cursed the fig tree because it not only had no fruit, but it only had leaves. So you can still have a vine, you can still have a tree, you can still grow things, but what are you bearing, right? Again, and going back to that, I don't want to hammer on this, but it doesn't matter if you're wearing a cross necklace, it doesn't matter if you go to church every Sunday. Outside of your own personal relationship with God, how are you acting? Are you walking with Christ and obeying God? Or are you just believing in God and hoping and treating him like a genie, and your prayers are more like a request list? Think about that. The main part that I want to get to, and to sum this up, right, is with fruit. Now that we've discussed what fruit is and certain characteristics, qualities that you want to live by, like again, Galatians 5:22-23, the vine, peace, love, kindness, patience. And I love that all these verses came to me for this little sermon or wisdom, whatever you guys want to call this. I'm just very thankful that I can sit here, talk at you guys for an uninterrupted amount of time, and be able to spread the good word with you. But just because, right, people bear fruit or people bear leaves or whatever, this is where in your guys' journey and what I've learned in my journey, this is incredibly important. So this goes beyond false prophets, because I'm going to read to you guys a good chunk of Matthew. We're going to do Matthew 15-20. All right, Matthew 8:15-20. My apologies. "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. By their fruits you will know them. Do men gather grapes from thorns or figs from thistles? Even so, every good tree bears good fruit, but the bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruits you will know them." Oh man, I just got the chills saying that. And I feel like the Spirit was just talking through me. You could hear the authority from my voice, because guys, I am exhausted. I've been running off of 2 hours of sleep, or like 40 hours. And I'm telling you, that energy, that sudden burst, that was the Spirit. And the only thing I can tell you guys, by their fruits you will know them. By your fruits they will know you too. So be careful in how you are putting yourself out in the world. Be careful in how you're treating people. This all should stem, though, out of the fear of God and obedience to God. Not, oh, I'm going to be good and good things are going to come to me. Because you're doing that out of a self-serving place. And your fruit that you bear, if it's truly from the vine, it's going to be selfless. This is a topic I'm definitely going to get a little bit deeper on, but I just kind of wanted to give a solid overview of what fruit is, what fruits that we bear, and to give like certain little examples just to give context, because this was something I really struggled with on my journey as a Christian, and I highly recommend you guys look into these scriptures. It was Matthew 8:15-20 on the Old King James Version. I got Mark 11:12-25. John 3:30, and Galatians 5:22-23, and John 15:1. All of those verses will kind of help to contextualize that for you and give you a better idea on the bigger picture of what this really is. And obviously, you guys go pray on it. Go talk to God. He'll explain it to you in maybe a better way than I can, because after all, he's the Father and the Creator. But I'm just very thankful for all the support. I was really not expecting as many people to be impacted by the word last week that I did. So it not only compelled me, but I felt convicted to come back, do another word, and decide to make this a weekly thing. So moving forward, we'll be doing more Wednesday wisdom. And I'm looking forward to doing this series with you guys and sharing the word. I hope that this impacted someone in a very positive way and manner. God bless all of you guys, and have a wonderful rest of your week.